Actually, sir. So, shall we start?
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
So the participants are still joining because we were having a small tea break. So they will be joining us soon.
Okay.
So I welcome all the participants again with a new session and an interesting session, and that is out off track from the technical session. So hope you will be enjoying this session. So as per looking on to the Atal policy, one session, compulsory session has to be taken up on the mental and the emotional development, then stress management or meditation, human values and the ethics, or we can also take up some of the sessions based on the Indian knowledge system. So taking the same into our consideration, we have come up with the session on the key highlights of National Education Policy 2020 that will be presented by the Dr. Kalicharan Modak. So we welcome you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Dr. Kalicharan Modak is currently working as an associate professor in IPS Academy in the Institute of Business Management and Research in Indore. He is PhD in management. He has also cleared UGC NET in management. He has done many certification courses from renowned institutes like Harvard Institute, University of Maryland, and IIM Bangalore. He holds more than 10 years of rich experience in academics. Prior to joining the IBMR IPS Academy, he has worked with the School of Commerce, Devi Ahilya University in Indore. He has presented many research papers in institutes like IIM Bangalore, IIT Guwahati, and OP Jindal University in various national and international conferences, and also published in reputed journals. He is registered PhD supervisor for Devi Ahilya University in Indore. He has attended number of FDP's workshops and training programs in different fields of management and research organized by the IIM Indore, IIM Kashipur, and IIT Bombay. He has received the SAP Award of the Excellence from IIT Bombay and has worked with the IIT Bombay for FDPs more than 101 and in 201 in September 27 as an associate faculty. He is also in the editorial board member of many peer-reviewed journals. He is the life member of the Madhya Pradesh Economic Association. He has delivered many sessions on AICT-sponsored faculty development programs in various prestigious institutes like IIT Ropar, IIT Indore, IIT BHU, and Bangalore University. So with this, we welcome you, sir, and looking forward towards your interesting session. We are hoping that we will be finding more information about the newly introduced NEP policy in our education sector.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Saraswati ma'am, for such a warm welcome and introducing me in a great manner. And I also thanks to Mehul sir for providing me this opportunity to talk in this Atal FDP with the learned audience. So may I share my presentation, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Sure.
Is it visible, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, my dear friends, I am Dr. Kalicharan Modak, and I'll be talking about key highlights of National Education Policy 2020. So this is one of the interesting topic to talk about because last year, Government of India introduced this National Education Policy, and from this year onwards, government is planning to implement this policy as well. So that's why, being the part of higher education in India, we all should be aware about the major changes and transformation which is taking place in the education sector in India. So first, I would like to talk about education. So education is very important for everyone for transforming lives, and universal high quality education is the best way forward for developing and maximizing the country's rich talent and resources. So definitely in the same manner, Government of India also want to develop the talent of India, and definitely that talent can be nurtured by changes making in the national education policy. And if the changes which is being suggested by National Education Policy 2020 will be implemented fully in the country, then definitely we can achieve sustainable economic development goal at larger level. So education helps for the transformation of individual as well as the transformation of the society. Now would like to show you the small video on purpose of education, and which is beautifully narrated by the actor Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. So let's enjoy this video.
पर ज्ञान का प्रेमी जरूर हूं। मैं कोई साइंटिस्ट नहीं हूं, पर लाइफ में एक्सपेरिमेंट जरूर करना हूं और उससे सीखता भी हूं। मेरे विचार एप्रीहेंशन से नहीं, ऑब्जर्वेशन से बनते। मैं ऐसा मानता हूं कि एक सामान्य जिंदगी जीने के लिए इंसान को रोटी, कपड़ा और मकान के अलावा अगर किसी चीज की सबसे ज्यादा जरूरत होती है तो वो है शिक्षा, एजुकेशन। आपके पास यदि धन है तो आप उसे गोल्ड में कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं। धन हो या सोना, दोनों के कम होने का या खो जाने का डर हो सकता है, पर यही धन को अगर हम नॉलेज में कन्वर्ट करते हैं तो वो कभी कम नहीं होगा और ना ही उसकी चोरी हो सकती। शिक्षा का महत्व मैंने बचपन से ही देखा है। मेरे माता पिता का मानना था कि ज्ञान वो इन्वेस्टमेंट है जिसका डिविडेंड यानी मुनाफा जीवन के अंत तक मिलता रहता है। एक राजा अपनी शक्ति के बल पर केवल वहीं तक पूजा जाता है जहां तक उसका साम्राज्य फैला होता है। वो केवल अपनी प्रजा का प्रिय होता है, पर अपने ज्ञान की कीर्ति फैलाने वाले अल्बर्ट आइंस्टाइन, विलियम शेक्सपियर, रविंद्रनाथ टैगोर सिर्फ अपनी जन्मभूमि में ही नहीं बल्कि पूरे विश्व में पूजे जाते हैं। संपूर्ण मानव जाति के लिए वो प्रेरणा स्रोत बनते हैं, बिना इस बात की चिंता किए कि एंड रिजल्ट क्या होगा। साल के अंत में जब हम परीक्षा देने बैठेंगे तो कुछ याद रहेगा या नहीं, अच्छे नंबर के पास आएंगे या नहीं, वो हमारे पास नंबर आ पाएंगे या नहीं। प्यारे दोस्तों, आपकी शिक्षा के ये दिन आपको कुछ समय के लिए गंभीर जरूर रख सकते हैं, पर इस गंभीरता का फल आपको आपके आने वाले दिनों में उम्मीद से कहीं ज्यादा मिलेगा। बिकॉज आई सिंसियरली फील दैट व्हेन यू विल चेस नॉलेज, नंबर्स विल ऑलवेज फॉलो। दो चीजें इंसान यदि अपने जीवन में एक बार सीख लेता है तो वो उसे कभी भूलता नहीं। एक है तैरना, स्विमिंग, दूसरा है साइकिल चलाना। सालों बाद भी अगर आप इन क्रियाओं को करेंगे तो कभी भी इस बात की चिंता नहीं होगी कि आपको स्विमिंग करना या साइकिल चलाना याद है कि नहीं। मेरा ऐसा मानना है कि वेपन्स, मनी किसी को पावरफुल नहीं बनाते, या अगर बनाते भी हैं तो कुछ समय के लिए ही बना पाते हैं। दौलत आज होगी, कल नहीं। शस्त्र का ज्ञान तभी तक काम आएगा जब तक वो शस्त्र चल सकता है। वंस इट इज यूज्ड इट बिकम्स एब्सोल्यूट। पर शास्त्र का ज्ञान कभी नहीं रुकता। नॉलेज कैन नेवर बी ऑब्सोलीट। शास्त्र ज्ञान शस्त्र ज्ञान से ज्यादा असरदार, प्रभावशाली और शक्तिशाली होता है। सीखते रहिए। ज्ञान का धनी व्यक्ति हमेशा ही सम्मान और आदर योग्य होता है, क्योंकि ज्ञान वो कवच है, वो शील्ड है जो आपके जीवन में आने वाली कठिनाइयों से आपकी रक्षा करेगा। फिर किसी भी शस्त्र की आपको आवश्यकता नहीं होगी।
Beautifully narrated by Mr. Amitabh Bachchan that शास्त्र का ज्ञान शस्त्र के ज्ञान से परे होता है. So definitely the value of education and the investment which is being made on education pays us the best dividend. So education is the only weapon by which we can transform the life of others, society and individual. With that note, now I would like to start with the vision of the National Education Policy 2020. Talking about the vision of the National Education Policy 2020, so the vision is based on 5 pillars, and those 5 pillars are access, equity, affordability, accountability, and quality. Definitely, these 5 pillars are very important and work as a foundation of National Education Policy 2020. So talking about the access means education should be accessible to all those who are living in India. Then equity, according to this policy, all are equal and everyone should be having the equal access to the resources and education in India. Then third is affordability. Government want to make education affordable so that everyone can go for that. Then next is accountability. Accountability lies within the teachers. So as a teachers, as a part of education system, all teachers should be accountable. So there are something which is related to accountability is being developed in this national education policy. Then the last pillar is quality. So definitely this particular policy focuses on the improvement of the quality of education in India. So this is about the vision of National Education Policy 2020. Now coming to the basic thing about NEP 2020. So the National Education Policy 2020 is the first education policy of 21st century. So talking about this particular education policy, so this is the first education policy of 21st century and aims to address the many growing developmental imperatives of the country. And this particular policy is also aligning with the goal of sustainable development. So definitely lots of new things and innovation is being added in this policy so that the purpose of education is to be achieved with the help of implementation of this National Education Policy 2020. India's National Education Policy 2020 makes a paradigm shift in conceptualization education as a mean to equip students with skills suited for 21st century. So definitely new set of skill is being required, and are we preparing our student for the new skill set which is being required in future in the global market. So definitely this policy tries to cope up with the new skill set, and lots of new things is being added in this policy so that we can teach our student those new things and student will be equipped with those kind of new skill set which is being required by 21st century. Then the policy has potential to align the goal of affordability, academic degree with job readiness, and international national ambition with individual gains. So definitely this policy also focusing on preparing our students for job readiness, making our student industry ready. Then the policy provides to the all student a quality education system with particular focus on historically marginalized, disadvantaged, and unprecedented groups. So definitely the aim of this particular policy is to provide the equal education, quality education, and provide a proper quality education system to all the students of the country. So the policy replaced 34-year-old National Policy on Education NP 1986 and the aim to bring transformational reforms in school and higher education and the shape into a global knowledge superpower. So definitely if India want to become a global knowledge superpower, then there was a requirement of transformation in school education as well as in higher education. So lots of new things is being added in school education as well as in higher education so that India can become the global knowledge superpower in the world, right? And aim to transform India into a vibrant knowledge society by making both school and college education more holistic, flexible, multidisciplinary and suited for 21st century need and aimed at bringing out the unique capability of each student. So this particular policy focuses on the unique capability, identification of unique capability of the student, and preparing those students with the holistic development, adopting flexible approach and adopting multidisciplinary approach. So these are the new transformation which is being brought in the education sector with the help of implementation of National Education Policy 2020. Now we'll be talking about the emergence of National Education Policy. So NEP is a comprehensive framework to guide the development of the education in the country. So this particular policy is also been made so that this policy can guide for the development of education in India, which was badly needed, because when we talk about the previous education policy, so definitely the way back that policy was launched. So the need for a policy was first fell in 1964, and 17-member Education Commission headed by UGC Chairperson D.S. Kothari sir was constituted to draft the national and coordinated policy on education first, right? Then based on the suggestion of the Commission, Parliament passed the first education policy in 1968. And second time, the changes is been made in the education policy on 1986 under Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi supervision. And later on it was revised in 1992 at the time of government of PV Narasimha Rao, and now the latest one, the latest national education policy released on 29th of July 2020 under the prime ministership of Mr. Narendra Modi. So this is how education policy evolved in India from 1968 to 86 to 2020. So very few changes has been made in the education policy, and that was the need of our, because environment of is changing and huge competition we are facing from all across the globe. So there was a need to make some amendment in the education policy as well, and that is being done in July 2020. Now we'll be talking about silent features of NEP 2020. First, I'll be talking about the school education and the major reforms in bullet points. Then I'll be talking about the higher education reforms through the National Education Policy 2020. The universalization of early childhood care education. This has been added to the policy. Then National Mission on Foundational Literacy and Numeracy has been added. Then the structure, the previous structure was 10+2 structure, right? Now this new structure has been added, that is known as 5+3+3+4 curricular and pedagogical structure. So that is again a new concept in the school education, which is being added to National Education Policy. Then curriculum to integrate 21st century skills like mathematical thinking and scientific temper. So these things were pretty much required to talk about the mathematical thinking and scientific temper, and lots of new thing is being added, which was aligned with 21st century skill set. And no rigid separation between art, science, and curricular and extracurricular activities. So earlier there was a clear-cut separation between art, science, and other domain, but now there is no hard separation. And earlier there was a separation between the curricular and extracurricular activities. We used to promote our student to focus on curricular because those curricular activities were having weightage on the mark sheet, but this policy also focuses on giving equal weightage to extracurricular activities, and there should be proper alignment between the vocational training and academic stream. Education for gifted children is being added, so lots of new thing is being added to gifted children also. And school curriculum to be reduced to core concept integration of vocational education from class 6. So lots of emphasis is given on providing vocational training. So that was again pretty much required in India to sharpen the skills by providing vocational training to our student at school level. Then in grade 6 and 8 focuses on the vocational studies. Then gender inclusion fund is to be added. experiential learning, including arts integrated, sports integrated education is to be, storytelling based pedagogy is to be developed in the school level. Then reduction in curriculum will be there. So these are some major reforms which will be there in school education after the implementation of National Education Policy 2020. Now continuing with the major reforms in school education. So new national curriculum framework for ECE, school teacher and adult education will be there. Then board examination will be low stake based on knowledge and application. So examination will be focusing on the knowledge and application part. So that is again the reform which will be there in the practicality aspect of the children. Then home language, mother language, regional language. So lots of focus has been given on the language, which I'll be discussing while talking about that 5+3+3+4 structure. So this particular policy focuses on promoting the multiple languages. Then 360-degree holistic progress card will be prepared, which will be helping in tracking the student progress. Then National Assessment Center, which will be known as PARAK, will be there. Then NTA, National Testing Agency, will be offering common entrance examinations for higher education institute for admissions and all. Then national professional standards for teachers will be there. Book promotion policy and digital libraries will be opened by the government of India. Transparent online self-disclosure for public oversight and accountability will be there. So these are some other reforms which has been there added in the school education in the national education policy. So these are the changes which I just discussed about school education. Now, in the next part of the presentation, I'll be talking about the higher education and major reforms. So this particular policy focuses on the graded autonomy. That means autonomy will be provided at academic level, at administrative level, at financial level, so that proper development of education took place in India. Then phasing out affiliation system in the next 15 years. So after 15 years, there will be no affiliation system in India because graded autonomy will be given to all the institute in India. Then national mission on mentoring will be run for higher education, and all higher education institutions except legal and medical colleges to be governed by single regulator. So now there are a number of regulators are been there like AICT, UGC, higher education department. So there will be a single regulator in upcoming years. Then online self-disclosure based transparent system will be developed, and common norms for public and private higher education institutions, public private philanthropic partnership will be allowed. Then fee fixation within board regulatory framework will be there. These are the changes. Then credit transfer and academic bank of credit, which is also known as ABC, academic bank of credit. So credit will be transferred in the account of student when we talk about higher education. So I'll be talking about this credit transfer also when I'll be talking about changes in the higher education in detail. Higher education institutions, research intensive and teaching intensive universities and autonomous degree granting colleges will be promoted by the government through the policy. Then model multidisciplinary education and research university will be developed, and 50% gross enrollment ratio will be achieved in higher education by 2035. So these are the major reforms which is being included in national education policy. And internationalization of education will be there. Lots of international institutions will be entering into Indian market for providing better quality of education. National Research Foundation will be there for promoting research. Then integration of vocational education, teacher education, and professional education will be there. Then there will be major changes in UG program as well as in PG program, which I'll be discussing on the next few slides. MPhil is to be discontinued in this new national education policy. Then special education zone for disadvantaged region. So the region where school infrastructure or higher education infrastructure has been not been there, so special education zones will be developed. Then National Institute for Pali, Persian and Prakrit will be there. National Education Technology Forum, NETF will be there. And MHRD to be renamed as Ministry of Education. So these are the major reforms which will be taking place in the higher education with the help of implementation of NEP 2020. So this is the major reforms. So I just mentioned all the reforms which has been there in school education as well as in the higher education. Now I will be talking about the key highlights. And before moving to the key highlights, here I have done bit research and just taken this graph so that everyone can understand the government expenditure on education. So I have taken the data of few countries like Finland, UK, Japan, America, North America, and India. So from the graph, as we can see that Finland is having the highest government expenditure as a percentage of GDP, that is between 6 to 7%. UK is lying between 5 to 6%. Then Japan is between 3 to 4%. North America is between 5 to 6.5%. But when we talk about our country, India, so earlier we were spending, but here, as you can see, between 2014, 15, and 16, there is a declining trend in the government expenditure. So definitely what government is planning with the help of this national education policy, they will be spending 6% of GDP in terms of education expenditure. So that is again good news for Indian education sector, that lots of new investment government will be making for creating infrastructure and other development purpose. So here I have talked about the education infrastructure. Now one small video I have taken which beautifully depicts the need for the change in the infrastructural requirement in India when we talk about Indian infrastructural changes. So this is the ad campaign of Procter and Gamble. So let's have a look on this particular video, which is related to the education.
पापा मैं भी स्कूल जाऊंगा।
हाँ हाँ अपू।
स्कूल चले।
राम राम जी। राम राम जी। अरे अपू स्कूल जा रहे हो? मैंने ना नदी किनारे एक लाल रंग की नाव देखी थी। अपू नाव ढूंढने चले?
कब तक दूर से तुझे नजारे दिखाऊंगा, कब तक बूढ़ी कहानियां तुझे सुनाऊंगा, कब तक झूठे दिलासे तुझे दिलाऊंगा।
पर पापा स्कूल गए नहीं।
जाने वो दिन कब आएगा जब चांद पे तू जाएगा।
स्कूल जा रहे हो?
जाने वो दिन कब आएगा जब चांद पे तू जाएगा।
पापा आज भी स्कूल नहीं गए। पापा आज पक्का स्कूल जाएंगे।
कब तक तेरे सवालों को मैं यूं ही टालूंगा, कब तक तुझको बातों के धागों में बांधूंगा, कब तक झूठे दिलासे तुझे दिलाऊंगा। क्या वो दिन कभी आएगा जब चांद पे तू जाएगा, जब चांद पे तू जाएगा।
ठीक है अप्पू घूमने चलेगा? अप्पू
हाँ वो दिन अब आएगा, हाँ वो दिन अब आएगा, चांद पे तू जाएगा, चांद पे तू जाएगा.
So that is a TV commercial of PNG Shiksha, but this particular video beautifully depicts that the infrastructural challenges in India. So I used to show this particular video to my students so that I can motivate them that we all are fortunate enough that we are having access to education. There are n number of people like Appu's father, those who cannot provide basic education just because of lack of infrastructure. So lots of work is to be done, and there is a requirement to make some infrastructural changes in the country. Now would like to talk about the key principles of national education policy. So first is the respect for diversity and local context. This particular policy respect for diversity and local context as well. That means in all the curriculum, pedagogy and policy, there will be huge diversity. The next is equity and inclusion. That means focuses on the inclusive education, education for all. Then community participation. So this is again very important thing which is being added in the National Education Policy 2020. Like lots of community participation is to be motivated. And if being the responsible citizen of India, we want to participate for teaching one student. If we can teach one student and everyone can teach one student, then definitely lots of changes we all can bring together. So in our surrounding where we are living, if we see if any child is not having access to education, then definitely by community participation we can teach that student. So that concept will be there in this national education policy. Use of technology. So technological upgradation is again pretty much required in India. Like last year when pandemic COVID-19 entered into India, so we all faced huge problem, especially the education sector. Then later on, lots of infrastructural development took place, and now we all can teach. But there are some places where those technological development yet not available. So government will have to invest a lot for technological upgradation in those areas. So that is again key focus area in this National Education Policy 2020. Then emphasize conceptual understanding. This policy emphasizes on conceptual understanding so that concept will be clear to all the student rather than rote-based learning. So earlier we all have witnessed that rote-based learning, even we have gone through the same situation. But talking about emphasizing on conceptual understanding, so definitely this particular policy will be focusing more on practical approach rather than focusing on the road-based learning. Then unique capabilities. Unique capabilities means every student or every child is having some different kind of capabilities, right? There is one popular story is also been there. I would like to share that. Like in one jungle, if we just tell every animals to climb on the tree, so everyone cannot climb on the tree, right? A fish cannot climb on tree, or some other animals also. So everyone is having unique capabilities. So in a similar manner, what we should identify the capabilities of the student, and we should promote that capabilities so that student can excel in that particular segment. And critical thinking and creativity. So the NEP focuses on encouraging the logical decision making and innovation as well. So this is again very important, which is being added to this policy. Then continuous review. Continuous review will be done by the government of India and various authorities so that they can assess whether the policy is being properly implemented and all are benefited or not. For that purpose, they'll be conducting the research and they'll be continuously reviewing the policy. So this is about the key principles of National Education Policy 2020. Now, we'll be talking about universal access to education at all levels. This particular policy is focusing on providing universal access, right? So that everyone can access the education at all level, whether it is the school level or the higher education. So first thing under this is multiple pathways. Learning involving both formal and non-formal education modes will be developed. Government is planning to provide formal mode of education as well as informal mode of education in the areas or tribal areas where the infrastructure is not available properly. Then next is bring back dropouts. Every year huge number of students is drop out because they are not having proper facilities and they are not being encouraged. Some kind of problem is being faced by their family and family members. Government want to bring back dropouts to the mainstream. And alternative centers. As I have already talked about infrastructural challenges in India, government will be developing some alternative centers so that education can be provided on those alternative centers also. Then peer tutoring concept is been added to this. Then this particular policy will be focusing on learning outcomes. As we all are the part of higher education, so we are aware about the learning outcome methodology and all, because that is compulsory in NBA accreditation. So this learning outcome will be there in school level also, and government will be creating and building more number of schools so that education can be provided to all the childs and the citizens of India. So this is about the universal access to education at all levels. Now coming to the highlights. So new policy aims for universalization of education from preschool to secondary level with 100% gross enrollment ratio. So what government want at school level, government want to achieve 100% GER, that is gross enrollment ratio, by 2030. And NEP 2020 will bring 2 crore out of children back into the mainstream. So we were talking about the dropout students. So government want to bring back those dropout students to the mainstream so that education can be provided to those dropout student also. And the new 5+3+3+4 school curriculum with 12 years of schooling and 3 years of Anganwadi and preschooling is to be implemented. So this is the structure where major changes took place, and I'll be talking about these particular changes in detail in next few slides. So transforming curricular and pedagogical structure. So existing academic structure, we all are aware about that 10+2 system, right? And now the new academic structure will be focusing on the first 5 years. So under that, 3 years and 2 years is being divided, then 3 years, then 3 years, and then 4 years. So this is the 5+3+3+4 model of academic structure, which will be implemented throughout the country by the implementation of this national education policy. So the first 5 year is known as foundational stage. The next 3 year is known as preparatory stage. The next 3 year is known as middle stage, and next 4 year is known as secondary stage. So 4 stages is being developed by this education policy to transform the school level education at India level. So now we'd like to talk about the major changes which is being there. So first I'll be talking about foundation stage. This annotation is visible to everyone? Yes. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This annotation is perfectly visible or not?
Sir, it's a bit blurred.
Blur.
Huh.
Okay, might be due to network issue. Let me continue. If it is not visible, then let me know. Yeah. So the
Sir,
foundation.
You can turn off your video screen, okay, so that the better transition can be.
Yeah, I have turned off now.
Okay, now it's quite better.
Yeah, thank you so much. So talking about the foundation stage, so this particular foundation stage is being dedicated to 5 years. In this 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 structure. So these 5 years is again divided into two parts, 3 years and 2 years, right? So these 3 years will be focusing on play school. So earlier in private education, this play school concept was there, but in government education, this play school concept was not there India-wide. So government is planning to provide the education at play school level also. So that's why they have included that 3 years for play school or Anganwadi tenure. Then later on, the next 2 years will be dedicated to class 1 and class 2. Right. So the best thing of this particular foundation stage is no examination will be there. So government have eliminated the examination pattern in these initial 5 years. So now the reason why government eliminated the examination to attract more number of students as far as enrollment is concerned. Otherwise, what when a student go to school and if they fails in examination, then definitely fear came to mind and they drop out the schools and all. So on early 5 years stage, there will be no examination, so there will be no fear, and we can attract more number of students. So enrollment will be increasing in initial 5 years. Then after foundation stage, after this completion of this 5 year, now the next is the preparatory stage. So talking about this preparatory stage is again dedicated to 3 years, and these 3 years is dedicated to class 3 to class 5, right? And here the examination will be starting from class 3. The examination will be there from class 3rd onwards, and these preparatory stage of 3 years will be focusing on more number of activity based learning will be there along with the study. So along with the traditional study, government or the NEP will be focusing on activity based learning. And as I have said while talking about the key highlights, that this policy focuses on promotion of languages, right? So between class 3 to class 5, mother language will be taught and national language will be taught. So language will be there. This is about the preparatory stage from class 3 to class 5. Now the next one is the middle stage. So the middle stage is again dedicated to 3 years, and these 3 years are given to class 6 to 8, right? So lots of new transformation and changes has been brought between class 6 to class 8. Like government want to introduce the vocational courses between class 6 to class 8. So if any student is fond of gardening or carpentry or some other kind of vocational training is being needed to that student, so that student can opt for that vocational course according to their choice. So why there was a requirement of these kind of vocational training? When we compare the education system, the previous education system of India and the education system of other countries like Germany, so vocational training was the part of school level education. But in India, that vocational training we were lacking. But in this education policy, government is planning to provide vocational training to our student at school level. So that is again very much appreciable, and definitely will bring certain reforms in school education as well. And traditional subjects will be there, which a student will be learning in between class 6 to class 8. And as the policy focusing on teaching so many languages, so between class 6 to 8, so many Indian languages will be taught, like Sanskrit, Urdu, or Maithili. So Indian languages will be the key area in these 3 years. So this is about the middle stage between class 6 to class 8. Then coming to the next one, that is secondary stage. Talking about secondary stage, that is been given and dedicated to 4 years between class 9 to class 12. Right? So between class 9 to class 12, the major changes which has been brought by this education policy is no stream system. Earlier, biology was there, science was there, commerce was there, but there will be no stream. That means student can opt for multidisciplinary subject. That is the nice initiative which is being taken. So if any student want to learn biology along with economics, so they can go for that combination also. So that is the changes which has been brought in the secondary stage. And semester wise examination government is planning between class 9 to class 12. So multiple evaluation will be taking place between class 9 to class 12, so that holistic development of the student can be achieved. And as the policy focusing on promotion of languages, so lots of foreign languages will be there, which can be learned by our students. So this is about the major changes or shift which has been there between 10+2 structure and 5+3+3+4 structure, right? So this is the major shift or transformation which has been there in this school level of curriculum. This is about the school education system. Now would like to talk about the major changes in higher education. So in higher education, when we talk about graduation, so graduation is again divided into 4 years. So first year, then second year, then third year, and fourth year is being there. So multiple entry and exit system is to be implemented with the help of this particular graduation system. So first year will be known as certificate year. If any student is coming and taking admission in the graduation and just do not want to continue, so at least he'll be getting certificate. Now if we continue the second year, so he'll be getting diploma. If that student is pursuing third year, so that student will be getting degree. Now the question which may arise in your mind, that for government job and other things, this 3-year degree program will be required, right? Now if student want to continue the fourth year, so that is known as research degree. Lots of research activity will take place if candidate is just going for 4-year degree program. So this is how the graduation is divided into 4 years, and multiple entry and exit has been there. So if student is just exiting from the second year, then definitely he or she can get diploma at least. But in earlier education system, this particular provision was not there. If student was leaving the graduation on second year, he was not getting except that second year mark sheet. But now this diploma will be having some kind of weightage, and that can be used for further jobs and other training purpose, right? So this is the changes which has been brought in the graduation. And now we'll be talking about post graduation. So post graduation either will be of 1 year or will be of 2 year, right? So if student is completing 4-year graduation program, then he or she can directly enter into second year of PG program. Or if student is just exiting from 3-year degree program, then he or she can enroll with the first year PG program. So this is the major changes which has been there in higher education, and these things will be implemented from this year onwards. When as I am from Indore, so government of Madhya Pradesh, higher education of Madhya Pradesh started implementing this policy from this year onwards, and they are making some necessary changes in the curriculum as well. So this is the major changes in the graduation as well. So lots of changes is being done in the school education as well as in the higher education. Now here I have taken one small video, like what will be the future of jobs be like. So this is a video which has been released by World Economic Forum, which depicts the future of jobs. So let's enjoy this video, then we'll be discussing about this.
COVID-19 is one of the biggest crises of our time. It has impacted every single one of us, shaken our social systems, and disrupted every sector of our economies. The automation of work, combined with the global recession, led workers to lose their jobs at an accelerated pace compared to previous years. And this trend is expected to continue. The ongoing shift in the division of labor between humans, machines, and algorithms might displace 85 million jobs worldwide in the next 5 years, while 97 million new roles, ones that are more adapted to this new task distribution, may emerge. By 2025, companies expect to displace roughly 6% of their total workforce. 1 in 2 workers will need reskilling, and those remaining in their current roles will need to update 40% of their skill set to adapt to the changing labor market. There is a way to collectively benefit from these challenging times. Decades of research have shown that the most valuable asset of any economy or company is its human capital. Around the globe, companies are already experiencing a shortage in relevant skills for future roles and are investing in reskilling and upskilling their workforce. By 2025, organizations say they will train over 70% of their employees to ensure they can smoothly transition into the jobs of tomorrow. These include DevOps engineers, artificial intelligence specialists, digital marketing managers, talent acquisition specialists, and customer success specialists. It will take on average between 2 weeks and 5 months for workers to pick up new skills, allowing them to move into these new roles. But data shows they won't need to have the perfect skill set to start transitioning. While 2/3 of employers expect to get a return on investment in employees' reskilling programs within just 1 year, governments will also need to step in to update and fund education and training systems, and to ensure displaced workers have adequate safety nets. With purposeful leadership and collaboration, we can turn this global crisis into a unique opportunity to transition into a future of jobs that is inclusive, fair, and sustainable.
Yes, so in this video, it is beautifully depicted by World Economic Forum that the jobs which are having today will be outdated tomorrow. So are we preparing our student for future ready job? Definitely the skill set will be upgraded in near future. Earlier there was industry 3.0, but now there is industry 4.0. So definitely in industry 4.0, lots of new skill set is being required by the engineer or by the manager of those industry. So definitely this particular policy is also aligning with the sustainable development goal, and vocational training, lots of new things is being added. I was attending one of the program earlier. So there, one speaker mentioned that in foreign countries, at school level, coding and other subject is compulsory from school level as well. So on a similar note, government also want to teach these kind of subjects. They want to include these kind of things in the national education system in India. So definitely in future, there will be drastic transformation in the future job market also. Now, the next topic which I want to discuss is early childhood education, learning in formative years. What is early childhood education? The education at early childhood level. So education plays an important role because many of the researchers shown that at early childhood level, the brain of the child develop at faster pace. So why not to teach a number of things on early childhood level? So that's why government have incorporated a number of things to be taught at early childhood level of education, like teamwork and collaboration will be taught, then play-based and discovery-based learning will be taught, ethics will be taught at early childhood level, self-identity, etiquette, behavior, and emotional development will be taught, colors, shapes, alphabet and numbers will be taught, relationship with the nature will be taught, art, craft and music will be taught, logical thinking and problem solving will be taught, and curiosity among the student will be developed. So definitely, if we teach all such things like ethics and other things in early childhood education, then definitely student can learn those things in early stage of childhood. So that thing can be implemented on further stages of life. That would be again game changing in the development of student brain. Then next is the reduction in curriculum. Earlier, huge weightage and bag system was there, but government want to reduce the curriculum as well, so there will be less burden on the student. So reduction in the curriculum will be focusing on core essentials, like curriculum in all subject to be reduced to its core essentials. So for example, if one subject has been there, so only core essential and necessary topics will be there, so that curriculum can be reduced and minimum burden will be there. Then critical thinking. So this particular policy focuses on critical thinking, inquiry, discovery, discussion, and analysis based approach. So definitely, if this particular approach will be implemented with the help of implementation of this policy, then definitely the development can take place in the student. Then interactive classes. So interactive teaching with reduced dependency on textbook learning. So earlier textbook learning was there, but nowadays government is creating a number of repositories and all digital libraries is to be created. So definitely creative or interactive classes will be provided to the student at school level. Then experimental learning, like fun, creative, collaborative, and activity based learning will be there, which will be helping student for further development. So government is planning for reduction in curriculum as well. So that is again good thing, because if lots of burden is being there, students are not able to cover that syllabus, not able to wind up that, and not able to perform in the examination as well. So definitely, if the curriculum and all will be focusing on the core essential, then definitely that will be helpful for all the students of India. Now, next is the creativity in education. So lots of focus has been given in the creativity in education, because earlier we were focusing on rote-based learning, but now government also want to promote creativity in education, because when we talk about creativity, it plays an important role. So definitely there should be creativity in education, and we should always promote creativity in education. For that purpose, just selected one small video which beautifully depicts the creativity in education. So let's enjoy this.
Children are born creative. Sarah, for example, loves to dance. She doesn't care about making any wrong moves. At her first day at school, she can't wait to show her dancing skills to her new friends. They are so excited they even start copying her moves. But when the teacher comes in, he tells them to stop. School is not a place to dance, it's a place to get knowledge. So, the first thing Sarah learns, school is not about her interests. When Sarah graduates, she has the best degree in her class. Great. But she doesn't dance anymore because she is afraid that somebody might judge her. The reason? The first global education system was invented during industrialization, when medicine and mechanical machines were making huge steps forward. So, the most important subjects to support these developments were at the top of the hierarchy. They are needed today as well, but we don't know what the world will look like in the future. With the advances in automation, we will need to develop new business ideas and lifestyles. But how will our children invent these in the future when they aren't educated to solve challenges in a creative way? Of course, our education system can change. On the one hand, it could put subjects like sports and arts on the same level like math, languages, or humanities. At the same time, it could give students more freedom to choose which topics they want to learn and which they don't. On the other hand, interdisciplinary tasks could teach teamwork to students with different strengths. The result? Success. And what about computers? No, not like this. In times of digitalization, schools should give students modern digital workspaces. Last but not least, schools should start encouraging creative expression from students like Sarah. Because the more creative and fearless she is, the better her chances are of becoming whatever she wants to be, even a dancing queen.
Being the part of higher educational institution, we should also promote the creativity in the education, right? So lots of focus has been there by the government in the national education policy to promote creativity in the education as well. So definitely, if that is being properly implemented, then definitely creativity in education will be there, and we can achieve the objective of that creativity as well. Now, the next thing which I want to discuss is focus on learning outcome, competencies, and subject integration with the help of this particular policy. This policy focuses on various things like competency-based education. So modules on preparing and implementing pedagogical plan based on competency and outcome-based education for school leaders. Definitely outcome-based education which will be implemented in India will be helpful at larger level. Then integration of subjects. Earlier there was different kind of subjects like art, science, maths, commerce were there, but now subjects will be integrated, like arts integrated, sports integrated, ICT integrated, storytelling based pedagogy. So these changes will be there in this national education policy. So integration of subject will definitely play a vital role as far as the development of education is being concerned in India. Then development of scientific temper. So the development of scientific temper is again very important, and this will be inculcated the knowledge and practice of human and constitutional values such as patriotism, sacrifice, non-violence, truth, honesty, and peace will be taught, and scientific temper will be developed among our students with the help of this particular policy. Then talking about subject and other learning like curricular, co-curricular, and extracurricular learning. So earlier there was hard separations, but in this education policy, no such separation will be there. So if a student is opting for curricular activity, they can opt. If they want to opt for co-curricular, they can opt for that also. So equal weightage will be there. So when we talk about academic or vocational, equal weightage always being given in this education policy. Earlier, no equal weightage was there. Yes, anyone want to ask something? Okay. So there will be no hard separation between curricular and extracurricular activities, academic and vocational training as well. And in subject also, there will be no hard separations like science, humanities, sports, arts, academics. There will be proper integration and multidisciplinary approach will be adopted at all level. Then this policy emphasis on the digital literacy. So digital literacy means coding and computational thinking, ethical and moral reasoning will be taught. Again, if coding is being taught at school level, then definitely this will be more helpful to develop our student at global platform. Promotion of multilingual teaching. Lots of surveys been done by MHRD, and I have heard to the honorable person from AICTs, like why they have included that multilingual approach, because sometimes teachers are not available. So teachers can teach in mother language as well at local level. So mother language, then national language, and other national language and foreign language is being there, which is an option. So this particular policy will promote the multilingual approach in teaching and learning. So the policy will be focusing on learning outcomes and subject integration as well. Then coming to the next part of the presentation, that is mental and physical health and well-being. This is again very core and important area, like mental and physical health and well-being, because we all are witnessing this pandemic, and somehow we all are frustrated with that, right? So government is including this mental, physical and health and well-being in the curriculum at school level as well. So regular health checkups will be there at annual level to all the students by the government of India. So the physical fitness can be evaluated for the future of India. Then reduced weight of school bags, which we have already discussed. So reduce weight of school bags and textbook through suitable changes in curriculum and pedagogy. So government will be changing in the curriculum and pedagogy, and reduction in the weight of school bags will be there. Then mandatory skill on health and wellness will be taught, like health and nutrition, physical education, fitness, wellness, sports. So these are some areas like healthcare, mental health, first aid, personal and public hygiene will be included in curriculum. Earlier, these particular things were not having weightage and not included in curriculum. In some part of India, it was included, but not all part of the country. But now, this particular mandatory skills like health and wellness will be included in all part of the country. Then hiring counselor in school complexes. So government will be building some school complexes and will be hiring some counselors, so that those counselors can counsel our student and can encourage the students for further development. And focus on children with having different ability. So this particular policy also focuses on the children having different ability. So no differentiation will be there, and lots of benefits be provided to those kind of students also. Yes, last week the Paralympics over, so we have just won so many medals on Tokyo Paralympic. So lots of thing has been there. So if a proper platform is being provided to those candidates, those are having different ability, then definitely they can also nurture and their skills, and they can do well in different kind of fields. Then inclusive and caring culture at school. So this is again the culture which will be developed, like inclusive and caring, so that student will be feeling free to come to school. They will not be having any kind of fear in their mind while going to the school. So this is about mental and physical health and well-being, which will be included in the curriculum, so that we can just make India fit and ready for the future challenges. Then next is India's future and India's leadership role in upcoming fields. So few upcoming new fields are being there, like computational thinking and mathematical thinking and problem solving. So in those upcoming areas also, government is planning something and increase emphasis on mathematics and computational thinking throughout the school years. So lots of focus will be given to mathematics as well as computational thinking. And activities involving coding will be introduced in middle ages. So in school level, that coding will be taught, so student will be learning those things. Lots of activity will be conducted, like hackathon and all, which is being conducted by AICT. So that might be conducted at school level on later on stage after implementation of this national education policy. Then inculcate mathematical thinking and problem solving through the variety of innovative methods, including regular use of puzzles and games. So apart from traditional teaching methods, puzzle-based teaching methods will be developed and game-based teaching methods will be developed at school level, so that teaching and learning will be more comfortable for student as well as for teacher also. Then including contemporary subjects in school. So some new contemporary subjects like artificial intelligence, design thinking, holistic health, organic living, environmental education, global citizenship education. So these are some new areas and dimensions which has been identified by the government in the policy, and definitely these things can be taught at school level as well. Now the next is the knowledge of India. Now knowledge of India is also included in national education policy, so that government can depict the knowledge, rich cultural heritage and each and everything for a student, and that thing can be developed in the students in their culture as well. So video documentaries or inspirational luminaries of India in science and beyond will be shown to all the students at school level. Then students will be given a logical framework for making ethical decisions at young age. Right. So even I just had a talk with my director sir today. Like in India, the decision making is not been there in our student. So as we are providing MBA program, students are unable to select the specialization, right? Specialization which is right for them. So decision making is not been there. They used to say, yes, I'll be telling you, I'll be asking to my parents or my friends or some other people. So definitely for making better decision making at young stage, logical framework will be taught to all the students. In later years, expanded along theme of cheating, violence, plagiarism, littering, tolerance, equality and empathy will be taught. So what is the replication of all such things, and students should not involve on those kind of activities will be taught to all the students. And traditional Indian values and all basic human and constitutional values will be developed in all the students. So value system will be developed. An excerpt from the Indian Constitution will also be considered essential reading for all the students. So if student will be reading the Constitution from, of India, then definitely they'll be adding lots of value to them. Then basic training in health, mental health, good nutrition, personal and public hygiene, disaster response and first aid will be taught, so that they'll be ready for any kind of disaster in near future. So these are the things which will be taught in school level through knowledge of India, and will be incorporated in an accurate and scientific manner wherever relevant. And Indian knowledge system, including tribal knowledge and indigenous and traditional ways of learning, will be covered. So as India is very rich in tribal knowledge as well, so those tribal knowledge will be depicted to our student. Then specific courses in tribal ethno-medicinal practices, forest management, traditional organic crop cultivation, natural farming, etc. will also be available to our student. Then curriculum to include knowledge from ancient India. So as we know that we all were very rich in terms of cultural heritage. So those things will be depicted to India with the curriculum and pedagogy. Then scientific explanation of the detrimental and damaging effect of alcohol, tobacco and other drugs will be the part of curriculum. So these are a few new innovation which is being done with the help of this national education policy. And these knowledge of India will be depicted to our student. So that will again will be game changer for education sector in India. Now, next is the transforming the culture of assessment. So there will be a transformation in the culture of assessment as well. So continuous tracking of learning outcome of each child. So what we will be doing, what government will be continuously evaluating the learning outcomes, whether the child is learning or not. Then board exams to be more flexible with assessment of essential skills. So more flexibility will be there in board examination. assessment to focus on core concept and high order foundational thinking. So we'll be assessing the core concept and foundational skills. Then AI based software to be developed by the government of India for evaluating the transformation among the students. So that is again the new concept. Would like to show one video in next further slides related to that, how China have implemented that. The National Assessment Center will be there. Then self-assessment and peer assessment will be there. National Testing Agency, NTA, will work on offering high quality common aptitude test to eliminate the need of coaching for certain kind of examinations. So these are the transformation which will take place in the assessment culture of education system, right? So lots of new changes we can witness in upcoming few years. Talking about assessment, so new concept has been added called holistic progress card. Holistic progress card means 360-degree multi-dimensional report. How this will work? Let us discuss about this, like progress in project-based and inquiry-based learning, quizzes, role-based, group work, etc. to be included in report card. So now if some project has been assigned, then project will be having the weightage in the report card, quizzes, role plays, group work. So these are having the weightage in report card. So definitely student will be working very hard. Otherwise, if no weightage has been given, then student used to leave those activities. Then the progress card will be actively include the parents in their children education and development. So if parent has been included and each and everything is being discussed with the parent, and then parent will be working for further development of the children as well. Then AI based software to be developed to help track growth through the school years. The government will be developing this AI based software for overall assessment of the student. Now, how this 360-degree progress card will be working? Like this is a student A, and n number of students are there, B, C, D. So student will be assessing themselves, and other student or the friends will be assessing. Then teachers will be assessing, right? Then parents feedback will be taken. So all such things will be included in the assessment culture. Then definitely this assessment culture will be bringing 360-degree transformation in the development of the student. So this is about the holistic progress card which will be developed. Now here I have included one small video. How China have included artificial intelligence in the classroom.
红色是表示你的专注力显示的很高。
Teachers at this primary school in China
蓝色是走神了，
know exactly when someone isn't paying attention.
白色就是你可能跟网络还没有连接好。
These headbands measure each student's level of concentration. The information is then directly sent to the teacher's computer and to parents. China has big plans to become a global leader in artificial intelligence. It has enabled a cashless economy where people make purchases with their faces. A giant network of surveillance cameras with facial recognition helps police monitor citizens. Meanwhile, some schools offer glimpses of what the future of high-tech education in the country might look like.
做出选择吧 ，Good job。
Classrooms have robots that analyze students' health and engagement levels. Students wear uniforms with chips that track their locations. There are even surveillance cameras that monitor how often students check their phones or yawn during classes. These gadgets have alarmed Chinese netizens. But schools say it wasn't hard for them getting parental consent to enroll kids into what is one of the world's largest experiments in AI education. A program that's supposed to boost students' grades while also feeding powerful algorithms.
为了就是国家的这个研究呀发展。
So this is a video published by Wall Street Journal, and I have taken that so that I can tell you about how China is using artificial intelligence, and in the similar manner, government of India also want to develop a kind of software which will be based on artificial intelligence, so that we can also assess the progress of our student in multiple dimensions. So definitely these initiatives which is being adopted and included in national education policy will be game changer for education system in India. Now the next is the multilingualism and power of language learning. So as I have already discussed while discussing about the school education, like lots of languages will be taught, and that has been included in this education policy. So medium of instruction until grade 5, preferably till grade 8 and beyond, will be home language, mother language, or local language. So this is how they have segregated. And the language of India will be taught. Then 3 languages to be taught will be decided by state or union territory. So states will be having liberty that what are the various 3 languages is to be taught to their students. Then all classical languages will be widely available in school as options. So huge number of languages will be available so that we can teach our students different kind of languages. Now the accreditation part at school level. So standard setting and accreditation. So setting up state school standard authority will be there, and self-disclosure of all the basic regulatory information of the school at school website will be there. So definitely this self-disclosure system will be helping in the transformation in the education. If everything has been disclosed by the school and they have placed that thing in their website, then more transparency will be there. Then to ensure all schools follow certain minimal professional and quality standards. So certain quality standard will be developed and all school will be maintaining those quality standards for implementing the education, for providing the education. Then development of school quality assessment and accreditation framework by SCERT and NCERT will be there. And periodic health checkup will be conducted, which we have already discussed. Then public and private school, except the central government school, will be assessed and accredited on common minimum criteria. So accreditation pattern will be implemented at school level also. So earlier accreditation process was there in higher education, like NEP was there, NBA was there. So they used to accredit the academy. Lots of global standard is also being there. So these type of minimum criteria and standard will be developed by the government so that accreditation to the school to be given. So definitely in upcoming future, lots of improvement we can witness in the field of education as well. Then focus on socio-economically disadvantaged group. So this policy also focuses on socio-economically and disadvantaged group like gender identities, particularly female, transgender, and individual. So in some places, female were not sent to school. So there is a provision to provide education to female, transgender, and other gender identities. And socio-cultural identities like scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, OBCs, and other minorities. So there is some provision for them also. Then for geographical identities such as students from villages. So in some villages, proper infrastructure has not been there. Then small towns, then aspirational districts. So their government is focusing to provide basic education infrastructure and facilities. Then disabilities, that means students are having different abilities. Lots of new provision has been added in this education policy. Then the next criteria is socio-economic conditions such as migrant community. So as we have witnessed, lots of labor migrated from one place to another during the pandemic and lockdown. So government have identified that particular problem also, and for migrant community also there is some provision for providing education. Low income household, children in vulnerable situation, victims and children of human trafficking, then orphan, including child beggars in urban areas and urban poor areas. So these are various areas which has been identified by the government of India, and special focus and emphasis will be given in the NEP 2022 to this particular socio-economically disadvantaged group. Now, educate girl child. We all used to say this, that this is very important to educate girl child. If girl child will be educated, then definitely the future of India will be very bright. For that purpose, I have taken one small video of Mahindra Rise campaign.
छुटकी जल्दी आ टिफिन लिया हाँ। आजा पकड़ ले, पकड़ लिया।
पकड़ लिया।
अरे गोविंद,
अरे भैया, नमस्ते।
नमस्ते नमस्ते नमस्ते। अरे ये क्या, बिटिया स्कूल जाने लगी है? चलो अच्छा है अच्छा है। वैसे जरा संभल के गोविंद, ज्यादा पढ़ लिख करके कहीं लड़की हाथ से ना निकल जाए।
चले बेटा।
पापा, मैं हाथ से क्यों निकल जाऊंगी?
बताऊं? देख, अभी तू स्कूल जाएगी,
हाँ।
फिर मन लगाकर पढ़ाई करेगी,
हाँ।
फिर जब तू फर्स्ट आएगी,
हाँ।
तो बड़े शहर में जाके इंजीनियर बनेगी।
इंजीनियर में पायलट।
अच्छा, पायलट? फिर तो तू मुझे प्लेन में मुफ्त में घुमाएगी।
घुमाऊंगी ना?
पक्का?
पक्का।
हाथ दे अपना। चल बेटा, शाबाश।
फिर क्या होगा?
फिर तू पायलट बन के बहुत सारे पैसे कमाएगी, अपने फैसले खुद करेगी, बड़ी बड़ी हीरोइनों की तरह जीन्स पैंट पहनेगी।
जीन्स पैंट?
हाँ, जीन्स पैंट। जहां मन करेगा वहां जाएगी, जब मन करेगा तब जाएगी। तू अपनी जिंदगी अपने तरीके से जिएगी, है ना?
हाँ। तो पापा, फिर तो हाथ से निकलना अच्छा है ना पापा?
बहुत अच्छा है।
लड़की के हाथ कामयाबी तब आएगी जब लड़की हाथ से निकल जाएगी।
So in some part of rural India, girls are not having the access of education. So for providing them better education, government have included that thing in this education policy so that we can teach them properly. And next is support for gifted student and student with special talents. To encourage gifted and talented students pursue realm beyond the general school curriculum will be there. Then project-based clubs to be encouraged and supported and all level in the school. Then Olympiads and competition in the various subjects to be conducted across the country for gifted student. Effort for intervention in rural areas and in regional languages to ensure widespread participation will be there. Then extensive use of technology to encourage the talented and gifted children will be there. NCRT and NCT will develop the guideline for the education of gifted students. So definitely with the help of this education policy, government want to provide the education to gifted student also, so that they are having equal access of education in India. Now the next is online and digital education. As pandemic entered into India and we all are forced towards the online and digital education. But this is the future of education, not only in India, but all across the globe. So for that purpose, government is working with the help of this national education policy, like blended learning will be implemented, content will be created, digital platform like Swayams, Diksha will be developed, then pilot studies will be conducted, expansion of platform will be done, then inclusion and access to all these platform to the students in India. So definitely these kind of things and development will take place in online and digital education in India with the help of implementation of this particular national education policy. So after this, now we'll be talking about the teacher education. So it is very much required to improve the quality of teachers in India. Then only we can transform the quality of education. So a new comprehensive national curriculum framework for teacher education will be formulated by NCT in consultation with NCERT. So new framework will be there for teachers development. Then by 2030, the minimum degree qualification for teaching will be a 4-year integrated B.Ed degree. So that will be compulsory for being a teacher. So definitely, if transformation is being done in the field of quality of teachers in the education, then definitely quality of education can be boosted in India. And with that note, now finally I have reached to finally concluding this particular topic. So the new National Education Policy 2020 is a good policy, as it aims at making the education system holistic, flexible, multidisciplinary, and aligned to the need of 21st century Sustainable Development Goal 2030. The intent of policy seems to be ideal in many ways, but it is the implementation where lies the key to success. When we talk about the implementation parts, then definitely implementation is in the hand of we teachers. So as part of the education sector, we have to work very hard so that this policy can be implemented properly and student can be benefited. So lots of new things is being there and added, like vocational training, then other training program, coding and all, language. So definitely this policy can be a game changer for Indian economy. And this is the timeline for implementation in NEP 2020, how it will be implemented. So it has been initiated from 2021, from this year, and national curriculum framework for teacher and education will be developed. Then formulation of national curriculum framework for school education will be there between 21 to 22. Then between 22 to 23, a common guideline set of national professional standard for teachers will be developed. Then between 2025 to 26, lots of changes will take place, and fully this particular policy will be operational at 100% level by 2040. So lots of new changes we can witness, and definitely being the part of higher education system, the responsibility is in our shoulder to implement that in proper manner. So at last, would like to show this small video. So this is a gratitude to all the teachers.
I would like to thank my friend. She taught me not to judge people based on the past.
I think I'd like to thank my yoga teacher for dealing with my mental and physical inflexibilities.
I would like to thank my maths teacher. She made me look at the subject that I hated in a completely different perspective.
I'd like to thank my grandmother. She's been telling me very great stories about saints.
I would like to thank the whole universe because that's always the best teacher. My Tamil teacher, my dance teacher,
My physics teacher.
My grandfather.
Teacher inside myself.
My teacher, always, and who's so persistent and so prominent in my life, is my mother. The first teacher ever in my life was my mom.
That would be my mother, actually. She's been one teacher who stayed with me and is still with me. I mean, she's 96 years old.
My grandfather was extremely ill, and his leg got amputated. So he became almost like a child. And my mother has taken care of him like a baby. He was her father-in-law. And not many daughter-in-laws have the comfort or that relationship with their father-in-law. But she did everything for him. And when I mean everything, right from feeding him to everything that you can think of. And during his last few days, he called my mom and he folded his hands and he said that, you're my mother. You've taken care of me and you're my mother, and thank you for that.
My guru, Pandit Shankar Ghosh, has been an incredible inspiration for me.
Whom I particularly remember with great fondness is Professor Jayant Prabhu. What I loved about him is that he taught the subject with such passion and with such discipline that even if you didn't know anything about chemistry, you would fall in love with it. And to be able to do that requires a great mastery. And I learned that when you want to teach something and you want to be a great teacher, you should have great mastery of your subject.
I think the life is so big and it's not possible you can say only one person had taught you everything. I think every day you learn something.
A teacher can be either a source of information or a source of
So thank you so much everyone for your patience listening. And here I just wind up my presentation. Now the forum is open for question and answer. So if anyone is having any query or doubt regarding the national education policy or the topic which I covered, so the questions or the doubts are welcome.
So if anyone from the audience, you can raise your hand. We will give the permission, or we will give you the rights to take up the things. Anyone from the audience?
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you for wonderful presentation. Up till my actually the knowledge for national education policy was very I can say poor. But the presentation was very wonderful, and the objective with which it is implemented is very good. Okay, though there are some stripes in implementation of this education policy, but overall objective seems to be very good. Okay, now, sir, my question is from how much difficulties will be faced by the trust who is the trust or who is running the educational institution. Okay, so what difficulties would be faced by them, because there are certain requirements in term of infrastructure and so etc. Right? So
yes.
Would it be feasible to actually implement in near future? Okay.
Yeah. Talking about the various trusts, those who are running the educational institutes in India and providing education at all level. So, like with the implementation of this national education policy, government want to provide graded autonomy to each and every institute. So no affiliation system will be there, and the institute will be having all the power regarding curriculum design and implementing the other thing. So I think that these changes are pretty much positive for trust. But when we talk about allowing foreign universities and opening the gates for foreign universities in India, then definitely lots of challenges we can witness in near future. Because if Harvard or some other kind of international institutes will come to India, then definitely we also have to raise the standard of education. So the trust, those who are there, those are not having proper infrastructure facility, will have to improve the infrastructure to compete with those foreign universities as well. So lots of changes we can witness, and lots of support from the government and also will be provided to those kind of trust or institutions in the country.
Okay, thank you, sir. And sir, if does it require any kind of accreditation body like AICT? Does there any need for UGC later on?
all these accreditation body like UGC or AICT or NEP will be one. So there will be one higher education authority, and that authority will be having liberty for all kind of activities except medical and law. In medical and law, there will be separate thing, those who will be providing accreditation and all. But when we talk about engineering, management or other domain, then there will be only one or single authority.
Okay, sir, great. For now, it seems good, but I don't know in the future how it would go with the single management body, because the disciplines are having like different roles. So,
yes,
it would be quite difficult to go with the single body, because the setup of the different body have different objectives. The different bodies there for the school, for the colleges, even in college, in engineering, in management, in pharmacy. So they haven't set up with a different objective. Now again we are going with single body. Then I think it would be difficult to process further.
Yes, yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Can you give some more idea about Academic Bank of Credit?
Yeah. Academic Bank of Credit is a kind of a bank which will be created so that student can save their credit over there. For example, in first year 40 credit is been there in first year completion, so definitely that 40 credit will be transferred to the bank. So if later on that student will be continuing with the degree, so that credit will be transferred and added to the next year. So this is how this academic bank of credit will be working, where will be depositing the credit which the student have earned in the previous semester or the previous year, and definitely that will be helpful for utilizing and completion of that particular degree.
Sir, and how to establish this academic bank of credit?
This particular academic bank of credit will be developed by Government of India. So the Higher Education Authority of India will be developing that, and in academic bank of credit, as a part of institute, what we have to do, for example, one student is pursuing one course degree program and he has earned certain kind of credit system after pursuing that. So we have to enter that credit so that that credit will be transferred to academic bank of credit. This
Sir, suppose
yes,
as per NEP 2020, we can give BTech degree after 3 years.
Yes, sir.
So after 4 years also we can give BTech degree with research.
After 3 years, the research degree will be not be given in this national education policy. If student completes a 4-year degree program, then only he or she will be getting research degree certificate.
There must be a subject or courses related to research in the last year.
Yes, yes. One project will be there in the last year, and student will have to complete that project and they have to conduct that research. So if we talk about management and other domain, definitely that project will be given to the student, and after completion of that project, that research will be completed by the student and that credit will be transferred to that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Sir, does this credit bank mean that the students can have a multiple entry in a single program and they can complete the program as on their own wish? Is it like this?
No, we're talking about academic bank of credit. So what's happened? Like government is planning to implement that MOOC courses also. So if one MOOC courses is having the weightage of 10 academic credit. So after completion of that MOOC courses, that academic credit can be added to the credit which he has completed with the degree as well. So there will be multiple subjects, multiple courses available by which student can earn those credit. So there will be certain credit requirement for completion of that particular course. Like in Madhya Pradesh, the Higher Education Authority is also developed that credit system, and student will have to complete those credit for completion of that particular program.
Okay, there is no time limit for that.
Yes, yes.
Quite good. Sir, we have one question from the chat box. As per the policy, the fundamental teaching is carried out in mother tongue. So will it be helpful to inculcate human values? Very good question, actually.
Yeah, actually, lots of controversy is also going, and this question has been asked by so many participants in all the session which I have delivered in NEP. So, like research has been conducted by MHRD. So they found that student learn, or a child learn very fast at mother tongue, right? So that's why they have selected this mother language is to be included in early stage of childhood for education. So for that purpose, they have taken even, for example, if I am from West Bengal and I am Bengali, so Bengali teacher will be available over there. So that might be one of the reason that due to availability of teacher, this mother language is being added to that.
So we're expecting that many more revisions will be there in the future.
Yes, many more revisions will be there according to the feedback which we will be giving to higher education authorities of India.
So any other questions from the participants? If you wish to interact, then you can raise your hand and we'll unmute you. So Ms. Saraswati, It's over to you. Thank you,
Sir,
sir.
thank you, sir. The session was very great, and it has covered each and every point of this policy. So all the details regarding the purpose of education, the basics 5 pillars of this policy were also discussed by you, and you have also touched up upon the points about how the quality of education can be improved in the school times and also in the higher education through developing and adopting the digital platforms to develop the holistic progress card for our students. And the videos which has been shared by you, they were very inspiring and interesting, which has shown the importance of the education and the role of the teachers in the life of one particular students. And each and every person in this particular world is a student, so they are having a great importance of teacher in their life. In any of the role, the teacher can be in any of the role. And also we have seen the adoption of the AI technology in the upcoming future. So I hope that these technologies will be coming nearly, and we will be adopting those technologies for improving the quality of our education. So it seems that this policy will be opening up a new learning opportunities to the students and justifying the Right to Education Act in our India. I'm sure that audience has learned lots of things through this particular session. And from my behalf, the session was very great, sir. Thanks to take up this session from as per our request. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, Saraswati ma'am. Thank you, Mehul sir, and thank you, the head of Civil Engineering Department, Charuttar University. So thank you everyone for patiently listening, and I feel privileged to be the part of your wonderful faculty development program. So looking forward for future association. Thank you so
Sure,
much.
sir. Sure.
Surely, sir. Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So participants, today we will be ending our session with this particular interesting NEP policy topic, and we will be meeting tomorrow again with some interesting topics which are the emerging fields in the geotechnical area. So you will be finding those topics interesting, which is related to the image analysis contribution in our field. So that would be great for you people, and finding out quality of work in that. So looking forward to meet you tomorrow. So a good day. Have a good day. Bye.